Hey there, it's Olivia Savannah here from Olivia's Catastrophe, and today I'm here to give you a massive book haul of all of the books that I required in the month of January. It is actually a ridiculous haul. I've got 53 books here to show you. Let's crack on and I'll explain why and how there are so many books as we go. So we're going to start with the special editions, and the very first one is because my birthday is in the month of January. So a massive thank you to my parents for getting me the cloth bound box set of the Charles Dickens hardback books. This includes A Tale of Two Cities, A Christmas Carol and Other Christmas Writings, Great Expectations, Bleak House, Hard Times and Oliver Twist. I am a Charles Dickens fan. I've read all of these except for Oliver Twist, so that's really nice, and they'll be joining me on my collection. I collect all of the Penguin cloth bounds and also the Penguin library editions. This was so lovely to receive from my parents. Next up we have the Telemetry special edition set of the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells. Now I didn't order this in January, it just arrived in January, so if you're tracking how much money I'm spending on books in these hauls, this didn't actually come from my January. If you're tracking how much money I spend in my hauls, this didn't actually come from my January book budget, it just showed up in this month. Now this includes All Systems Red and Artificial Condition, Rogue Protocol and Exit Strategy. It also has Fugitive, Telemetry, Systems Collapse, and then last but not least the novel Network Effect. The only one of the Murderbot Diaries that I have read before is All Systems Red, so I'm looking forward to continuing the rest of the series. To give you an indication of what these special editions are like, these are the sprayed edges, and then I'm not going to show you each individual one, but they have end paper artwork on both sides. The first one is signed but the rest of them are not, and then under the dust jacket they look like a logbook, which is very nice. So yeah, they are absolutely stunning. I'm so excited to continue reading this series because I very much enjoyed the first one in the series, and I'm very happy to have them all in my collection. I do think there's more, or there's more coming, I'm not entirely sure. So in January, Illumicrate had a New Year's sale, and I'd actually already had on my list of special editions to buy later down the line their Stephen Graham Jones set, but because it was on sale I thought why not snatch it now. So I got this trilogy of books. The first one I believe is My Heart is a Chainsaw, but it also has in it Don't Fear the Reaper, and then also The Angel of Indian Lake. I have no idea of the order of these. These are very cool because the sprayed edges look like cassette tapes, which I believe has something to do with the book itself. And then again, not going to be showing you each one individually, but they also have end paper artwork on both sides. Each book itself is actually signed by the author, and then there is wraparound art under the dust jacket, which is also really cool. I think these editions are stunning too, but I've also never read any Stephen Graham Jones, so these were a bit more of a risk for me to purchase, and I really hope I'll love them just as much as some of my other horror reading friends do. Oh, and then also in that sale I got Make the Season Bright by Ashley Herring Blake. This is a Christmas sapphic adult romance book. I got this because I cleared all of my Christmas reads, and what I usually do throughout the year is I just gradually, slowly and steadily get a Christmas book, but because it was in the sale it just felt like too good an opportunity to miss. I know that this author writes other sapphic books as well, and I think this one is about two exes having a second chance romance, and one of them has done something terrible to the other. I actually know what that terrible thing is, but I'm not sure if you're supposed to, so I'm not going to tell you in this whole video. This has a really nice sprayed edge on it that is very Christmassy. It has also got end paper artwork. I think it has it on both sides. Yeah, there's more end paper artwork here, and then under the dust jacket it looks like this, which I absolutely love so much. It just reminds me of like those kind of journals that you have back in the 2000s. But yeah, I'm excited to read this. I think this is the first Christmas book being added back onto my TBR since Christmas. The next one I have to show you, I think it's Fairy Loot, that is Afterlight. I am not subscribed to Fairy Loot Afterlight, so I am very, very grateful to two particular people who helped put this into my hands. But this is Fundamentals of Being a Good Girl by Sierra Simone and Julie Murphy. I found out that this was going to be their January pick, and I really, really wanted to get my hands on a Sierra Simone and Julie Murphy special edition, as I'm a big fan of their Christmas series. I've read all of the series, I've read all of the novellas and all of the extra bonus scenes, so I wanted to get their next book that they co-wrote together. And then seeing it was a special edition, I was just like, how do I get my hands on this book? And two people helped me to get it by selling me their own box, so thank you so much for that to those particular people. So this one is actually a story that I think Sierra Simone's written before in terms of concept, but there's a lecturer who has a one-night stand with this woman, and then his new nanny shows up on the doorstep because he needs a nanny for his child because he's a single dad, and lo and behold, it's the woman that he had a one-night stand with the night before. So it's a workplace romance in the aspect of that she is his nanny, and it's going to be super steamy, and I'm very excited to read it. We've also got plus size female representation. I can tell that by looking at the cover. Sierra Simone and Julie Murphy often do that. For this edition, beautiful cover, very steamy sprayed edges. The sprayed edges say stuff like hold, bite, kiss, slap, lick, squeeze, grab, things like that. We've got, it's kind of steamy end papers, just flash that very quickly because they're kind of steamy, and then this one is less steamy. End papers here too. And the naked hardcover for this one is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Can you see that? Lovely, stunning. I'm so happy to have a special edition from one of my favorite authors. This was non-risky for me to get because I just know I'm gonna love it, and even if I don't, I'm still gonna love having it in my collection. Look at this stack of hardback books. So every single year I save myself some money for books that I read throughout the year, and this year, instead of, you know, saving that money and then spending it all on books, I decided not to do that because I have enough books. But I decided I could buy whatever I wanted in the Waterstones Boxing Day sale, and then if I had any money left from saving £1 for every book that I read last year, I would donate it to charity. So I actually ended up donating 2/3 of that money to charity, which was really nice, and then 1/3 of it I spent on a selection of these books. And I also need to say a massive thank you to Taylor, Tay, my friend, Iridescent Blaze, because for Christmas she got me a Waterstones gift card, and that gift card has contributed to the purchase of 3 of the books on this stack that I have here for you. I think I did a good job of limiting myself. I had loads of stuff in my basket, and I cut I cut quite a lot of it out, so I got down to a reasonable number, but that also meant a reasonable amount of money went to charity. Let me talk you through the books. So the first one we've got here is The Lone Husky by Hannah Gold. This is the latest Hannah Gold book. I've read every single one of her middle grade books. They're often focused on nature preservation, and particularly for endangered animals or certain animals that need support and safety. I think her writing is fantastic for the middle grade audience, and I love the illustrations that Levi Pinfold does for all of her books. I will obviously read whatever she writes, so of course I got myself the next one when I saw it was in the sale. I have here Sunstruck by William Rayford Hunter. This has been described to me as Saltburn with black characters, and so I was excited to read it. Have I watched Saltburn? No, but I kind of understand what kind of conversations it means this book will be tackling, and I just love to read books by black authors, so I thought why not, and I got myself a copy of this one. The next book I have here is Murder at the World's End by Ross Montgomery. So I've read Ross Montgomery before. He's really well known for his middle grade, and this is his first adult mystery novel. I really like Agatha Christie's murder mystery novels. However, I have struggled to find contemporary mysteries that I enjoy just as much as a good Agatha Christie. If I'm reading a mystery focused book, I tend to gravitate towards thrillers if we're talking about contemporary authors. But I believe that Ross Montgomery will bring me something that I enjoy because he's such a good writer. writer, so I'm very much looking forward to trying this by him. Then I picked up a copy of Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid in the sale. I got this one primarily because of my friend from work, who is also a friend. She really enjoyed this, and I've just seen so many people really love this. I know that it's literary fiction, but it is dealing about female astronauts, I think, and it has a sapphic relationship in it. So I have read 2 other books by Taylor Jenkins Reid, the ones that everybody reads, Daisy Jones and the Six and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I need to read something more by her soon. Then I saw a copy of Cursed Daughters by Oyinkan Braithwaite, and there was no way that I was not going to get this. You can see the outline of where the sticker used to be, and I need to kind of remove this sticky layer from it, which really annoys me that it's there, but I'm excited to read this. Do I know anything about this book? No, but I absolutely loved My Sister the Serial Killer by the same author, and in fact in about a week and a bit's time I'm going to a book club where I'm going to be discussing this book with my sister and a group of other people, and the author will be in attendance herself. So this is going to be read. I'm actually starting it today. I was unsure about whether or not I wanted to read Hot Wax by ML Rio, but I decided to take a punt at it when I saw it in the Waterstones sale. The reason why I was unsure is that even though I love If We Were Villains with every bit and ounce of my soul, the synopsis for this one doesn't intrigue me quite as much, and I haven't seen as many reviews about it. That said, I am willing to give it a go. It was very cheap in hardback in a sale, so I thought, let me give this one a chance. Then I saw a copy of Silver Cloak by L.K. Stevens in the sale. This has got a sprayed edge. I didn't expect that when I ordered it. This is a fantasy novel, and people say it's very good. That's what I know. A fantasy novel that people online have been saying it's very good, so I decided to give it a chance. I did read the synopsis at the time. Does my mind remember it? No, it does not. Let's see. Set in a world where magic is fueled by pleasure and pain, in which an obsessive detective infiltrates a brutal gang of dark mages. That does sound really good to me. I can see why I chose it. And look at this full color map. That's beautiful. This is beautiful. I love this book. I haven't read it yet, but I love it. Also in the sale, I got The Isle at the Silver Sea by Tasha Shuri. This is one that I just saw loads of people talking about, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read it. And then it was in the sale, and I thought, well, please, if you don't mind, I'll add that to my basket. Yep, a knight and a witch are fated to fall in love and doom each other over and over, the same tale retold over hundreds of lifetimes. It's a time loop. It's a time loop. I must have realized that when I bought it, because I love a good time loop or time travel story. And then the last 2 books that I got in the Waterstone sale, they were no-brainers for me, and that is Skandar and The Spirit War by A.F. Steadman and The First Unicorn Rider by A.F. Steadman. This is a prequel to the series, and this is the last book in the series. I've read the first 2 books in this series, and I gave both of them 5 stars, and so I've been collecting the series in hardback as I'm going to continue steadily reading through it. Oh, sprayed edge. And, oh, sprayed edge. I didn't know that when I ordered them. And so I of course went and got the other 2 in hardback while they were on sale. So now my series is complete and I just need to finish reading through it. So the next stack of books I have to show you are all birthday gifts from you lovely people. Thank you so much to everybody who's absolutely spoiled me on my birthday and showered me with gifts. I'm so grateful. You are so lovely. None of you ever have to do any of it, but you are just generally such lovely people. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I will be thanking people individually. So the first one is from Taylor again from Iridescent Blaze. She got me a copy of Dune by Frank Herbert. This is the beautiful Waterstones edition of it that I really wanted to have. I read Dune already, so I have read this one, and I felt very mixed about it, but listen, I'm going to continue reading the series. I read the first book and I was like, I will never continue reading this series, and I've decided I will continue, largely to do with the films, and so I'm very excited for the next film that's coming up at the end of the year. But I just love the world and the concept, even though there are some issues with the storyline and the female representation in this series. But yeah, now I have it on my shelves, and it is one of those forever books for me, so I'm keeping it. Thank you so much, Taylor. And also for my birthday, Taylor got me another Waterstones gift card. I have not spent it yet, but I look forward to spending it in the future, so thank you, Taylor. The next book is from the lovely Charlie from Charlie Brooke Reads, and also from It's a Charlie Thing. She's now part of 2 channels, so make sure you check them both out if you haven't already. And she got me a copy of The Names by Florence Knapp. So this is a book that I have just seen so many book clubs reading, and everybody says it's fantastic. People who do tend to read literary or historical fiction say it's fantastic, and people who don't typically read those genres say it's fantastic. And so it caught my eye, and it was in my basket for something to buy in the Waterstone sale, and it's one of the ones I took out of my basket, and then about a month later I really regretted having done that, because I really want to read it, and now I get the chance to. I think this is about a person who is given a name when they are born, and you see that life, but you also get to see 2 different versions of this person's life and how it would be lived if they were given the other 2 names that the parents thought of naming them. So it's about like different versions of the life that you could have lived, and a lot about identity as well. It sounds very good, and I really look forward to reading it. I know that Charlie enjoyed it as well. I've got a good friend. She's called Lakeisha. She has known me since my blogging days. She is mostly offline now, but you can check her out on Bookstagram under LBookNerd, and she is lovely. For the past several years, every time my birthday rolls around, she absolutely spoils me, and she has spoiled me once again with choosing 5 books to give me, and she specifically tried to choose different authors and different genres because she knows I read a mix of things, and that was just so lovely and so kind of her. Thank you so much, Lakeisha. The books that she has chose, the first one is Chinese Cinderella by Adeline Yen Ma. This is in the Puffin cloth-bound classics editions, which I have tentatively started to collect. I'm frustrated by the fact that Penguin keep putting out beautiful classics editions, but I am so happy that they are choosing more diversely what they are putting in those sets. I've not heard that much about Chinese Cinderella, but I'm very excited to give it a go and see what it is like, especially as I've read many iterations of the Cinderella fairy tale before, but not a Chinese one. Then she chose for me The Tuesday Club Murders by Agatha Christie. This is a short story collection of Miss Marple's short stories, I think, and yeah, it needs no introduction really. It's Agatha Christie doing Miss Marple in short story form. She also chose Dangers of Smoking in Bed by Mariana Enriquez. This is a short story collection by a Latin American author that's translated, and I've been meaning to read it since forever. So many people have told me how good her writing is, and now I get to experience it for myself, so thank you so much. We then have here The Love Dare by Abiola Bello. I think I've read all of Abiola Bello's young adult fiction that she's published except for this one, so this is the next one that I get to read. So this is about Ava, who is a popular girl who gets dared to take Saint out on a date, but what starts as a dare turns into a full-out crush, and they start falling for each other for real, and it's a very opposites attract kind of YA romance story with black main characters, and I just really like Abiola Bello's writing, so I'm looking forward to reading more of hers. And then last but not least, she got me a copy of Hungerstone by Kat Dunn. This is a Carmilla retelling. You know me and vampires, we get along. I really like the story of Carmilla, and I have read Kat Dunn before with Bitterthorn, which I really enjoyed and took me by surprise, so these 3 things are ingredients for me to enjoy reading Hungerstone as well. So thank you to Bekka from The Book Sanctum for giving me a copy of Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Césaire. This is one that I've heard my friends really enjoy, especially Jem from Creeps and Geeks, and it just sounds like a fun slasher with a clown in it horror novel. So I have been meaning to read it for so long. I know it's a whole series and I can't wait to delve in, and there has recently been a film adaptation made of it as well. Then we have When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. This is from Hannah from Perusing Hannah. Her Instagram is stunning and I love her captions, so make sure you check out her account as well. This is one that I saw Gavin from Gavin Reads It All really enjoy, and that has piqued my curiosity. I've since then heard a lot about how Nat Cassidy's horror writing is fantastic, so here's me giving it a go myself. Then a big thank you to Victoria from What Victoria Read for giving me a copy of Garlic and the Witch by Brie Paulson. I'm just so impressed that Victoria remembered my birthday amongst everything that she has going on. She is such a lovely human being. I love Victoria, so make sure you check out her channel as well. And this is a graphic novel. This is a graphic novel about sentient vegetables, and this is going to be another one of Garlic's adventures. I read the first one last summer and I read it in one sitting in the park, reading on a picnic blanket, and I giggled and laughed so much out loud and had a fantastic time. It brought me so much joy, and so I hope this sequel will bring me just as much joy as well. Then thank you to Daniela from Only If for a Page. Good friend of mine, great taste, very savvy, so thank you to her for sending me a copy of The Sword of Kaigan by M.L. Wang. What I know about this one is that it's a high fantasy novel that is steeped and cloaked in grief and leaves everybody who is reading it an emotional wreck. I was talking to Daniela about this when I was thanking her for sending it to me, and she said, I experienced suffering while reading this book, and I can't wait for you to experience that suffering as well. So thank you so much, Daniela. It's also been a hot minute, I think, since I've read something indie published that was not by Simone, so it'll be nice to read another indie published book. And then last but not least, on the gift fronts, thank you so much to Emily from Novelle Novels for sending me a copy of Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. This feels very fitting to receive from Emily because we both talk about disabled representation and disabled books quite a lot. She's also very lovely, so make sure you check out her channel. And this is a romance book between two disabled characters, I think, and I also think this is an unexpected pregnancy trope story, and I don't mind the unexpected pregnancy trope, but loads of people do, and all of those people who really mind it say they still enjoyed this book, so I'm very curious to give it a go myself. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone who I mentioned. So next up, I'm going to be talking about books that were sent my way from publishers. The first one is Agnes Orbert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett. This is a cozy fantasy that has to do with a cat shelter. That is all I know about it. This is the same author as an Encyclopedia of Fairies, which I have not read yet, but is on my shelf, and it just looks very magical and very cozy. So thank you so much to Orbit for sending that my way. Massive thank you to Titan for sending me a copy of 9 Goblins by T. Kingfisher. I've actually read the beginning of this already. This is a novella. It's about 9 goblins, and it's T. Kingfisher with her usual cozy fantasy writing style. That's all you need to know. Then we have One Leg on Earth by Pemi Aguda. So I have not read anything by this author before, but in the Black community, they stand behind this author over on Instagram. So I am very excited to try something by this author, to be in on the hype as well. And this one is set in Lagos, where pregnant women are all mysteriously stepping into water, and it explores why that is. It doesn't seem very long, so I really want to get to this one soon. I was also sent a copy of Good Loving by Yvette Edwards, and this is pretty much all I needed to know to say yes to this. It's a warm, funny and vibrant story of a multi-generational British Caribbean family across the decades, exploring backwards in time from 2020 to the 1960s. If you say British Caribbean family representation, you know I'm going to be there, so I had to say yes to this one. And then last but not least, from publishers, we have If I Ruled the World by Amy Dubois Burnett, and it's set in 1999 when there is a black journalist who is working for a magazine, and it's just not providing her the opportunities that she wants it to, so she hops over to a hip-hop up-and-coming music and lifestyle magazine with untapped potential, and it throws her into a world of wealth and an entirely new world to the one that she has been experiencing before. So that sounds quite fascinating as well. The next few books are from friends' unhauls. I unhaul books quite often. I send some to friends, and sometimes they send some to me as well. So the first load of books are from Hannah Kaye from Chapters by Wonder. I'll leave a link to her Instagram down below. But we actually exchanged books because she was unhauling her copy of Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, and she thought of me because it fits into the Penguin Library Classics editions that I collect, and I don't actually have this one yet. So thank you very much to Emily for sending it my way. I have read this. I'm not the biggest fan of Wuthering Heights, but I still am very happy to have this in my collection, especially as I'm planning to reread it at some point because I was quite young the first time that I read this. I picked a lot of high fantasy. So the first one I picked was The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. I am tentatively going to try this. I know there is a TV series. I'm tentative because this book is 800 pages long. It is a brick, but I know that this has a massive fandom behind it, and the epic fantasy fantasy lovers say it's a good one. And then because she was unhauling Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb and also Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb, I said yes to these as well. I have not read Assassin's Apprentice, but I have it on my shelf behind me, and I thought if they were free, why not get the sequels while I possibly can. And then the last thing that I got, Dragon Pearl by Yoon Ha Lee, and this is a middle grade fantasy novel that has to do with fox spirits and fox magic, and middle grade fantasy is kind of my happy place in middle grade age audience, so I have heard a lot about this particular book and I'm excited to give it a try. And then last book for Friend Unhauls, Emily from A Short Book Lover was unhauling books, and she sent me her copy of Boy Parts by Eliza Clark, which completes my Eliza Clark trifecta, I think, because I've read Pedants, and then there's this one, and then I also have She's Always Hungry to Read. Boy Parts is the one I've actually heard the most about, and I remember Hannah from Perusing Hannah really liked it, so I'm looking forward to reading it. I've heard it's very like strange and dark and gothic, which is entirely my MO really. We've come to the secondhand shopping portion of this haul. So I do secondhand shop for my books quite a bit, and I donate to the secondhand shop quite a bit as well, so I usually end up picking up books when I go there to donate. So the three books that I picked up on my last time donating books there was Bored Gay Werewolf by Tony Santarella. I think the title says everything that you need to know about this book. It's a werewolf story, he's bored and he's gay, and it's about what he gets up to. I wouldn't have bought this book full price, but I have had my eye on it, and seeing it there for so cheap in the charity shop, I thought why not. Then there was also a copy of Descendant of the Crane by Joan He. This is an Illumicrate special edition, back when an Illumicrate special edition just meant sprayed edges, so you can tell how old this book is, but it is a fantasy novel by an author that my sister likes, so I'm curious to see and give this one a go, but if I don't like it I can just bring it right back to the charity shop or give it to my sister. So this was a very easy, low pressure buy, and a very much a case of, again, I wouldn't have bought that unless it was in the shop secondhand, and then again I wouldn't have bought this if it wasn't in the shop secondhand. But that is The Slow Regard of Silent Things by Patrick Rothfuss. This is a novella to do with the character that like runs underneath the school in The Name of the Wind, and I have read The Name of the Wind. I really liked it. I know the series is unfinished, so I wasn't investing in buying the books, but seeing it there for cheap, I thought why not get this novella. And then lastly, this was a secondhand purchase I searched out for myself. I decided I really didn't like the edition of Six of Crows that I have. I wasn't tempted by the Illumicrate edition that they put out, and so I wanted to get the OG hardback that matches the edition of Crooked Kingdom I have up here on my shelves, and I managed to find it on Vinted. It was such a search, but I did get an OG hardback of Six of Crows in good condition with the black sprayed edge, and now my editions match, and I'm very excited and happy about that. I've read Six of Crows before. I gave this one 5 stars. I do consider it one of my favourites. I have not read Crooked Kingdom though, but that's going to be done this year for my dusting off the shelves challenge. And then last but not least, I don't always mention the books that I haul in from work in my hauls usually, but this year I need to for my Half the Haul episodes, so I have to tell you about them. The first one is Enchanting the Fae Queen by Stephanie Burgess in hardback. I work on this trilogy. I have already read this. I actually read it last year, but the finished copies came in this side of the year, and so I snagged one for myself. And then I also have here This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me by Alona Andrews in proof. I typically try and get finished copies from work because I'm not a proof person. I prefer hardback. That is my primary preferred format. However, my colleague just made these proofs too beautiful for me to say no, and she loves this book, so took that home from work as well. And there you have it. There's all of the 53 books that I've recently hauled in. You can see that it's a lot of publishers, gifts, secondhand shops and stuff, and sales. The sales do get me. There we go. There's all the books that I'm hauling in. Thank you for joining me for this very long haul. Please let me know in the comment section down below what was the last book you bought, borrowed, received or acquired. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated every time I have a new video. And you know what they say, onwards and upwards. Excelsior!